Good morning to you all. I'll go ahead and start. My name is Teddy. I'm a recent join for Rover and GeoDNet. I help out with the marketing and the community side. Woohoo! And then we can go ahead and kick it to Hera, then we'll do Mike and then Gary.
Hi everyone, my name is Hera. I think everyone knows me. I'm the social media manager for GeoNet. So I'm like the one chatting with you on Discord and on X. So happy to meet all you guys online.
Hey there, I'm Mike Horton. I'm project creator of GeoDNet and glad to be trying out our first episode of a Rover GeoDNet weekly AMA.
Good.
Yeah, hello, hi everyone. My name is Gary Lin, and I'm the co-founder of the ROVR network. Yeah, very glad to be here. Yeah.
Good. And for those of us that are just joining that don't understand too much about what GeoNet or Rover is, can we get a little bit of a breakdown? Let's go ahead and start with Gary first.
Okay. ROVR network is a decentralized data platform that collected the open raw data on the street, and those data include contains the lidar, camera, IMU, and RTKs, and that data widely used for AI training, robotics, and spatial AI. Yeah.
Nice. Thanks for that breakdown. And Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, so GeoDNet is the world's largest precise positioning network, and it's used in robotics and drones for localization, basically knowing where things are. And then you can combine that with LiDAR camera to know where everything else is. And then you can share that information over the network so these robots can collaborate together, build maps of the world together, interact together. We take advantage of learnings from Rover in terms of the visual-based positioning and also understanding the world around you. So you know where you are, but you want to know also everything around you, and that's why the combination is so powerful.
Yeah, that really does sound like a really strong combination. And with that, we'll go ahead and jump into our topics that we have set for today. First, we have current news and events. One that is really trending, especially on X and our various social medias, would be the NVIDIA CEO, Jensen. He says that humanoids are a multi-trillion dollar opportunity. So, with that in mind and that setting the preface, what do we have to say about that? Let's go ahead and start with Mike.
Yeah, I mean, the NVIDIA CEO Jensen, he's been on fire lately, appearing, constantly, and he's really starting to push the humanoids and really push physical AI. And I think that's because it's actually coming quite quickly. The number of different robots that are out there, we see in our pipeline, all kind of stuff. It is actually the pace is picking up quite quickly. And to call it a multi-trillion dollar estimation, I don't really think multi-trillion dollar market. I don't really think that is hyperbole. I think that's actually pretty easy to get to when you think about, a million robots a year at $20,000 each. It's 200 billion. You start stacking very quickly as these fleets of robots come out. So I do see it happening, and I see it happening in the near term. I think these things are going to do all kinds of different tasks for us, both indoors and outdoors, both simple work and complex work, both in the enterprise and in the home. I think it's the most easy for us to all visualize these robots in the home, and I think that's going to be a big market, partly because it's an environment that is actually pretty friendly. But I also think there's going to be a huge push to get these robots into harsh environments, places that humans don't want to work, whether it's a mine, whether it's a, outdoor environment that may be hazardous. They're going to do all kinds of stuff there. And that's, traditionally where there's always been early traction for robotics is in sort of dangerous and difficult places. Caterpillar, for example, has been deploying autonomous mining trucks for years, and that's been the thing. But what's making it so exciting for consumer and why I think you see NVIDIA's CEO pushing it so hard now is the cost of the sensor technology, things like the RTK network, stuff like what Rover is doing with the LiDAR has come down to a consumer price point. And that's going to allow mass adoption. The consumer market, as Apple has proven over the years and Google has proven over the years, Microsoft, it's the largest market of them all. And so, because the cost of the hardware has come down and the AI technology is maturing, and Gary will talk more about that, I think the opportunity for these things to make it into consumers' hands is super immediate.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. That's really good insight. I didn't consider the Caterpillar sample. So, Gary, what are your thoughts?
Um, I think the humanoid robots has the potential to completely change the many industries in factory, in office, and in house. So, our whole society is built for humans, so which means the humanoid robots can interact seamlessly with us, with humans. So some people think humanoid robots are still far from commercialization and they are skeptical. Yeah, but I'm super bullish on that.
Hmm.
So, yeah, 10 years ago, I was so skeptical about autonomous driving. When I saw the huge progress of autonomous driving technologies in San Francisco, LA, Dubai, Singapore, Wuhan, or especially in some big cities, now you can find roughly 2% plus of ride-hailing vehicles running without drivers. So humanoid robots are no different, and of course it depends more effort, but I really believe they're going to make massive progress over the next 10 years. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Well, look at you now. You're
yeah,
working with autonomous vehicles on the daily. And maybe in the future, we
yeah,
could be working with robots on the daily. So,
yeah, of course.
jumping into a more fun question, what would you have a robot do in your house in terms of chores for you, if you were to purchase one? We can go ahead and start with Hera. Hera, what do you think?
Are you talking about like Neo guy style
Yeah,
robot?
any chores. It could be Neo.
I think I will let them like clean my dishes and do the laundry, but only if they're not recording me. I need a lot of like privacy at home. So,
Yeah, that is a big feature, huh? Hmm.
mhm,
For me, I think I would prefer it to do outdoor work, like climbing ladders, digging holes, watering the grass. That would be
yeah.
my go-to method. What about you, Mike?
Well, I think that the most of the things I think about are indoors. I mean, for, taking care of your yard, we've got robotic lawnmowers that are cheaper and simple and they can do a dedicated task. So I think there's still going to always be a market for dedicated robots. The humanoid for me, the first thing I'd have it do is play with my dogs. The dogs love to be entertained, and I think that the humanoid could do a great job of that when I'm busy with work on an AMA and I could improve the life of my dog, our dog, so easily. So I think also taking care of and interacting with the kids, helping them learn. I
Mhm.
think before my father passed, he could have absolutely used a humanoid. He had Alzheimer's, and there were just a lot of times he just wanted to talk to people, argue with people, and would drive his caretakers crazy. A humanoid would do that with incredible patience, and I just watch my kids interact with OpenAI, ChatGPT, and learn so much from it and enjoy it so much. If you add that to the physical form, it's just so much richer. So I think that's part of why these things are going to be so frickin' explosive, is that we as humans, will really enjoy interacting with them, and there's so much opportunity for them to put a face on the internet and make the internet human. And I think that that's what's going to really, it may be a while before they can perfectly fold your clothes, but some of these other things they can do in a way that adds a lot of value. So I'm like Gary, I'm super bullish, and we're thinking all the time about ways how these things are going to interact with the positioning network, how they're going to interact with data, how they're going to be trained faster. I saw on the 1X video a lot of comments about how he didn't close it was having trouble closing the dishwasher. And a lot of those things were suggesting it was, a lack of data. So that's something I think, the collective projects here can really help with.
Hmm. And Gary, what about you?
Yeah, the housekeeping and laundry or load the dishwasher. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but basically, anything that frees us time, so
Mm.
we can focus on work, creativity, or stay with my family instead of vacuum my floor. Yeah.
Yeah, all the tasks, right? Big time saver. Hopefully, we see those come into mass production sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So now we mentioned data, and data is a big part of our
Mm,
work that we do. And we noticed, or some of the community members noticed, that we changed our title on
mm.
X from something to
World
world
model.
model builder. That's what we want to focus on.
Yeah.
So, speaking of world model builder, what is a world model and what is a world model builder? Let's go ahead and start with Gary.
Yeah, the water model is the AI not designed for chatting. The AI is designed for the physical world. So the water model helps AI to understand and interact with the physical world. Um, so that's there are three pillars of the water model and the AI, but we are focused on the data, and we can contribute our data set to the water model and to build such the the AI solutions. Yeah.
Hmm. And Mike, could you touch a little bit more on what a world model is?
Yeah, so I think that the way I think about it, and previously I think the tagline was data-driven planet, and I think Role Model Builder
Mm,
better reflects the mission that our customers are on in partnership with Rover and GeoDNet. But I think of it as if I put a camera on a robot, I get a picture and I get a video stream. And that video stream in and of itself is just bits and just it's a picture. If
Hmm.
I have a world model, now I can have an understanding. What's a door? How do I open a door? What's a road? Is this a lane marker? Is this a stop sign? That's what the world model does. It takes that imagery, that data coming from the raw sensors and turns it into actionable information. That's part one. And then it can be generative. And I think that's another massive part. So you can take data from this collection. You can say, well, I want to train my car to drive. Well, I can't do that just purely with collected data. I need to simulate all these conditions. And so a world model also implies a generative aspect. So as you take data collected from the world, precisely positioned, all the things there that reflect the real world, now I can generate worlds, I can generate scenarios, and that's become the
mm,
foundational way that like level four autonomy's trained. And I think it's going to be a foundational way that, say, that dishwasher that the 1X was struggling with yesterday, that gets solved. It's going to be able to look at that thing, understand it, understand its dimensions, understand how to operate it, just like we humans have that intuitively. That's what a world model
mm,
gives you, that ability to generate those scenarios and train on that capability. So I think world model. One of the things about world model, it had a some people call foundation model. I think now it's also a bit becoming, like a lot of things, a marketing term. So its definition is broadening a bit. So you have to ask each person who says they have a world
mm,
model what they mean. But that's just kind of a natural part of business. And so I think the definition is broadening a bit, but it's also, I think, very much a part of sort of under taking imagery and data, understanding the world around you, and then also being able to have a generative aspect to it. So being able to take, ask ask the model a question and get actually something new and generated back from that.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll make sure that whenever I see someone mention world model, that I'll ask them, hey, what's your definition? Let's compare.
Yeah,
And
indeed.
speaking of that, let's go ahead and move into trade show gossip, where we interact with other businesses and show off our product around the world. What about Equip Expo can you share, Mike?
Yeah, so GeoDNet, this is our third year running, exhibiting at Equip Expo, and this is the world's largest show focused on products used by landscapers. So that would be things like mowers and equipment used in the yard, whether it's a chainsaw or a weed eater or whatever you have. A lot of, all the tool companies that you see at Home Depot and Lowe's are there. And one of the big themes over the last few years has been automation and the trend to robotic lawnmowers, robotic landscaping equipment. And that certainly continued at this year's Equip Expo. I think one of the exciting aspects of it is that this stuff is moving into pretty high volume. So one of the participants in Navimo, they're approaching now 1 million units a year in the robotic lawnmower field.
Wow.
So that is it's exciting to see over the couple of years we've actually been watching this technology mature. I also think that sort of enterprise use cases in places like schools, airports, um, these are going to continue to grow. It's just a part of this sort of whole theme of taking sensors, taking positioning, taking AI, combining that together, and turning things that used to be physical work into physical AI. It's a very, you think, my God, this is a very narrow thing, but it's actually a huge business. Taking care of yards and taking care of grass. Grass grows every day. It's a big, big business.
And Gary, we know that CES is coming
Mm,
up. What about CES can we
yeah.
expect to showcase or share with our community? If you can share anything at all, of course.
Uh, I think I can't give away too much because we have not exact the specific plan for the CES 2026. But at CES, we are planning to highlight some of our most exciting development related to the world model. Okay, and of course the hardware, the new hardware and software. And which will help us to build better autonomous driving systems, robotics, spatial AI,
Mm.
and yeah, that's our plan. Yeah,
I
Yeah.
guess it's pretty obvious that should be obvious to
yeah,
everyone that there were a lot of humanoids at last year's CES, and there was a lot of excitement about that. I can't imagine that it won't be 10x the volume from last year.
yeah,
So I think they're going to
yeah,
be they're going to really steal the show this year at
yeah,
CES.
yeah.
And the number of these things they're multiplying. It's like I don't know
Mm,
the number of different variations and companies involved is growing so fast. So it's going to be I'm sure the top theme at the event.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Speaking
guess the
about
CS is the
announcements.
biggest.
Oh, go for
Yeah.
it. Yeah, Gary,
Also,
go for it.
I think the CS is the biggest trade show, right? For the consumer electronic.
Oh, it's certainly, I think it's maybe the biggest trade show in the world. I mean,
Oh, okay.
there are a few shows like Con Expo and
Uh,
Agritechnica that are maybe physically bigger, but certainly in terms of attendees, it's got to be right up there. We should look that up, but it's a massive. I mean,
okay.
every CXO of
Yeah.
every company involved in high tech is there. So I feel like one of the great things about
Uh,
that event is you really do get a high level audience. I mean, I've been at it before with Anello, another company I
mm,
founded, doing a lot of stuff in sensors, IMU sensors. We had on one day Palmer Luckey from Anduril visit our booth
mm.
and Eric Schmidt, former CEO of Google, visit our booth on the floor. No prior arrangement,
Wow.
no, like, hey, we scheduled this. They just came by. They were walking the floor and stopped and talked to us about the sensor, the silicon photonic optical gyro that Anello's been developing, super low drift gyroscope sensor, and it was really cool. And both of those things actually led to business. So, you know, that's the kind of audience that you get, and you can meet people like that just walking the show floor of CES. So I think it's unique in bringing such attention to the technology world. I don't know of any other
Mm,
venue quite like it.
Hmm. Yeah, from my
that's cool.
knowledge, it is the number one, the largest consumer electronics show in the world. So, but that's just consumer electronics. Um, and
Mm,
speaking of consumer electronics, or in general announcements, it feels like there's an announcement every day for this past week. NVIDIA announced their partnership with Uber for robotaxi capabilities earlier this week. Right? We see that gain of autonomous vehicles, especially into the mass media. What can we say about this topic? Let's go ahead and start with Gary.
yeah, I think this is really exciting. NVIDIA isn't just putting its the self-driving technology into cars like the Mercedes, Lucid, but they are teaming up with the Uber to launch the 100. I think it's 100,000 robotaxi, right?
100,000.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah,
so.
That's huge. That's huge. But achievable. So
Mm.
you know, NVIDIA handles the AI, Uber handles the fleet, and if they together with Rover, Rover can handle the data. So, but this effort from different projects and the companies and the startups, we really can kickstart the robotaxi commercialization. That means the robotaxi can make money. So I believe the city transportation could look completely different in just a few years. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I heard NVIDIA just released a autonomous driving data set covering 25 countries. Yeah, I posted Twitter. I think that's huge, and it's not available for download yet. But once it's available for download, I think we can do some comparison with Rover open data sets, something like that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a huge validation for you guys of,
Yeah.
imitation is the best form of flattery, and the open data sets that were available prior to Rover releasing its were quite stale and not up to the level
Mm,
of sensor technology, IMU technology, positioning technology
mm,
that is really relevant to modern kind of work on autonomous driving.
mm.
So yeah, I think there's things we can't. It's very interesting. It's very timely. So we're excited
Yeah.
about that, and we're excited to continue to build. I think the open data set, and then start to build on top
Mm,
of that. Curated products and products that are
mm,
allowing for use in localization more directly. We've got a
mm.
lot planned with this direction.
Yeah, it was big news.
Yeah,
It was
totally.
hitting all my feed across all social media, and we're excited to see that type of affirmation for the work that we're doing, especially at Rover and also at GeoDNet.
Autonomous cars are definitely going mainstream.
Mm,
You see them if you're up in the downtown San Francisco. I feel like every third or fourth car is basically a Waymo. Also in a lot of parts of LA, you'll have that same type of
mm,
feeling. You see them just all over. They're obviously
mm,
operating pretty flawlessly. You can see the number of rides going up and steadily. And I don't think this thing has completely inflected yet, where it's just scaling super fast. But I think the NVIDIA Uber announcement reflects that that is near. 100,000 vehicles on the road is a quite significant number. Once you hit that level, I think the million vehicle number will come, after that. So, all told in the U.S., I think there's like 5 million Uber drivers. So it gives you a reflection that this is moving beyond kind of pure proof of concept type of things and going into mass production. All that tech stack that's been pioneered for that is, I think, directly impacting also these humanoids. The learning, I heard the ARM CEO. ARM is a company that makes a lot of embedded silicon. Be talking more and more about silicon over the coming months here. Lots to kind of reveal there as well in future discussions. But he mentioned that these humanoids are primarily using repurposed automotive chips, and that there isn't a dedicated set of silicon
Hmm.
for those applications. But it's piggybacking off of what's done in ADAS and autonomy, and then next generations are coming out that are more going to be more specific to the robotics needs, because the volumes are coming up in a way that becomes a big enough market. And again, NVIDIA out there kind of leading that marketing charge, calling it the next biggest market after data centers for NVIDIA, multi-trillion dollar opportunity. Those are big words.
Yeah, those are huge words. And we're excited to see how that all unfolds and the part that we're going to play in all of that. So now we have this section where we answer questions from our community. I have some taken from our Discord, and then for all of you here that are on Zoom, there is also a Q&A feature where you can submit
Hey.
questions to us, and then if we have time, we can go ahead and take those. So if you have any questions while you're here with us from what you've heard, go ahead and ask those questions. And while those come in, I'll go ahead and start us off on those questions that I pulled from Discord. And again, if you're not following either Rover or GeoDNet on Discord or X, please do so. I'll drop some links in there afterwards, and then we'll also add it to that description of the Zoom call later. All right. So, One of the first questions, and this is a prevailing question across many social medias for us, is what is Rover's thoughts on including 360 view and the earnings for that? Let's go ahead and hand it over to none other than Gary. Gary, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we have three steps about the 360 view. The first step one, we need to cooperate with our data customers and collect their requirements. And that means we use the existing LC to collect the 360. The FOV, the field of view of our existing LC is just 120. So that means we need to put 4 units of our LC on top of the car and collect the data, the sample data, and hand over to our customers for evaluation. And this step we already done. I think right now roughly 10 customers are evaluating our data, and I believe next week we can get some output from them. And the second one, we need to upgrade the step two. Step two is we need to upgrade the firmware and the software because right now the existing solutions are required for smartphones to connect the LC individually. So this is a clunky way. So we need to upgrade and make the operation more user friendly. So this is step two, and I believe the step two is by the end of this year, and we can release the new firmware and software. And the step three, I believe is in the Q2 next year, and we will design the new hardware for 360, and people just need to put the new hardware on top of car and collect data. Yes, that's a simple way. Yeah, so this is our plan. Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, thanks for that insight.
yeah.
And Mike, is there anything you want to chip in?
No, that's I think a good summary. I think we um, taking the data collection very carefully, so we make sure that we have revenue to back up every move that we make. And I think Rover is engaged with quite a good number of customers. A few moving into the revenue stage, which is exciting, but a lot getting us into really detailed analysis. I mean, the I want to emphasize again the Rover Open Data Set has been, I think, successful in helping people understand this data, and we've gotten a lot of good feedback from that. And doing that early on before we go out and scale the network up to a huge level, I think is a really good move, and that we can tailor the whole entire operation to be very, I think, effective and high return for all the participants and also for the customers. We're not putting we want to get it so that it's easy to adopt and use in major robotics workflows.
Hmm. Nice.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
All right, let's see. Looking through the questions here, one other question is about the TX. Or the
Mm.
TX, for those of you that don't know, the acronym is Tarantula X. It is our other device outside of the light cone.
Mm.
So, with the Tarantula X, will this model
Mm.
in the future be used for other things at the same time as it collects data? So, let's say
Yeah.
navigation or texting, and it'll still collect data. What are our thoughts on that?
Yeah, to be honest, we have no exact schedule because the main reason of this phenomenon is the camera must working full side. It cannot or work back end because of
Mhm.
privacy purpose. So that means the only solution is to design the new hardware, or we just not collect the image data. So we are working on it, and I think by the end of no, that's Q1 next year, we will figure out some solution for that. I think the most likely we will design the new hardware for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Nice.
you either do new hardware for that or um,
Mm.
there's data products that don't need the camera, but we're getting a lot of feedback that the image data we're
Yeah.
getting from the TX is quite good, and we've had some
Mm.
very prominent customers that will go unnamed for now tell us they want 1 hertz data from the camera. So we've been testing Chris has been testing. I'm scheduled to do some testing. I think have we given it to anyone in the community, Gary, yet? The 1 Hertz update for the TX? Have we shared that with
Yeah,
anyone in the
right
community?
now we are right now we are we already start the grid test for the 1 Hertz. And before we just collect the structure data and also the RDCM and the GGA data. But according to some customer requirements, we need to collect the 1 Hertz image data because some mapping company or some utility company they need more image data. So, but for the smartphone, the 1 Hertz has some challenges. So we already upgrade the new app, but we need to test.
Yeah.
So according to our according to our plan, we will expand the area for the 1 Hertz. Yeah, maybe by the end of this year, yeah, we will get more 1 Hertz data. Yeah, but that depends our customer requirements. We will not um, to 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 upgrade all of the world, all the contributors' smartphone to collect the 1 Hertz data. No, we just do it according to customer requirements. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the 1 Hertz data has some pretty, as we've talked to customers, has some pretty obvious, benefits. It's just the challenge of getting all that data out. It is not trivial, but I mean, from a point of view of depth modeling, from a point of view of developing algorithms for precise positioning and a lack of GNSS coverage, the 1 Hertz data is super useful. So we'll be evaluating that more. I think it's so I guess the reason I brought up the 1 Hertz data is because it makes it even harder to think about something like kind of having a closing being able to do background data collection is actually even trickier in that scenario because you're really collecting a real almost live stream of data, and so the background mode would be even more challenging to work on. So I'm afraid that is some one of the as we work on this, one of the things we're seeing is just, hey, people want that the image data from there was, I think, a skepticism in the community, the broader community, that, hey, image data from a smartphone would be useful. Actually, we're seeing it as quite useful if it's collected at 1 Hertz and coupled to precise location. And that's something that is not available in any kind of open data products today. It's not something you can just go get. And it's not something that traditionally is easy to get. I mean, you're looking at $50,000 rig traditionally to get that kind of data. And believe it or not, a good modern smartphone's camera is so good, combined with good RTK data, you end up with a pretty damn decent data product from that. And the scale that can be collected at is enormous. It is just challenging in that it does tax the smartphone heavily. So that's the thing that we are seeing in the testing is it does put some load on it, but that's what's creating the value too. So always a trade-off there.
Nice. Thank you for sharing your insights on those. Very insightful. And we have a bunch more questions. Again, if we don't get to your question, please do ask your question on either X or Discord. Those are great channels for us to go ahead and answer all of your questions. Based off of time, it looks like we are over our expected time. Mike, Gary, do you have time for one more question?
We have some time for some of these questions in the Q&A. We should pop through those. I think I can go to 8:45, so let's keep at it.
All right, that looks good. So if you can look at the questions, Mike, as well, you can go in ahead
Yeah.
into the Q&A. I'm
I
unsure
like
of
this
which
first
ones we can
question.
answer.
Yeah. So the first question from Justin, why don't GeoDNet and Rover just fully merge? And I think my first thought on that is we love working together. I think the tokenomics are pretty different. So there's a kind of very different structure to how you set up and run a network that's intended to build a world model than versus one that's to provide a real-time kind of network service for robots and drones to have precise location. So I think that the reason to have sort of separate token structure, separate tokenomics is that I don't think you can kind of merge those two together easily. That's my thought. What do you think, Gary?
I think in the Web 2 world, the RDK and the data collection mapping always work together. So that's why in the Web 3 we work together too. But as you say, as you mentioned, the tokenomics is different, so it's very difficult to merge in the tokenomics level. So I think right now is the perfect way we cooperate and to make the project yeah the better. Yeah,
Totally agree.
yeah.
Gary, you want to
Uh,
pick another question from the list here? There's a lot of good questions here. I don't think we have time for all of them, but um,
uh,
any you like?
which question? Which question?
We
Okay,
can go for
corporations.
can
With the
do you think the trucking industry is better for mapping? Let's talk about that. I have an opinion on that. I would say that
y-
there is an ongoing, strong,
mm,
proven market for what
mm,
we're doing in highway data. So at a baseline, yeah, I think the
mm,
trucking industry is pretty damn useful to the rover network in terms of kind of
mm,
not obviously there's a lot of really exciting things up and coming with humanoids, and we're working on, the
mm,
world model aspect, but there is a very strong kind of baseline category in high definition mapping and in these data products around the major
mm,
arteries going between the major cities of the world. And
yeah.
that is maybe the most mature segment in kind of the HD mapping space. So it is very useful to
Mm,
the trucking industry is certainly very, very useful for what we're doing. And I would add to that um, the kind of mutual ROI that can be got between the trucker and the network is very good because,
yeah.
one piece of equipment can cover a huge amount of ground. That is pretty nice. It's a win. That's kind of a big win-win. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, I think that highway data is it's a competitive. So in terms of there are traditional competitors in that space, but I think
Mm.
Web3 can do it better, and it's a proven market. That's what I would say. Yeah, what do you want to add anything, Gary?
Yes, because all the OEMs they developing their autonomous driving systems. They start from highway. So the truck, usually the truck collect more highway data than the urban data. So I think a truck is perfect platform for LC to collect data. Yeah, yeah.
You want to pick a
Okay.
question, Teddy?
Pick a question. Yes. Okay.
Or
Teddy,
either
you
of
want
you
to pick a
guys?
question? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll pick one. We did just answer the beta program testing for the 1HD. This will be posted
Mm,
onto our various social medias, YouTube, Discord, and X. So if you're looking for those, we can go ahead and post that later to answer. For
mm,
now, we'll go ahead and dismiss that one. But another question we can talk about is, hmm, I really want to talk about the I'm not sure if we can answer this one, but I'll ask it anyways. Uh,
Go for
what
it.
what edge case failures have surfaced in multi-path heavy urban canyons, and have there been any major solutions? If not, are any innovations planned as a solution?
Oh, well, I mean, I think that's a well, first of all, there's one that Chris was getting pinged at like literally the day of, which is the school bus thing. I don't know if you guys saw
mm,
major news. A lot of moms are mad at Waymo. I think even Boston is even talking about banning self-driving cars, which is becoming a political kind of question and discussion because it has actually kind of more of a political undertone to it than probably practical undertone. But there was a Waymo that drove around a stop school bus. So that's an edge case. It's an edge case we were asked about within the day of when it happened from
mm,
several of the customers in Chris's pipeline. So I thought that was pretty cool. And we're looking at that now as we speak. The
Mm,
the multipath is a major, I think, challenge. This is why when self-driving first started out, there was a view that say GNSS and RTK wasn't really part of the solution, was going to be all LiDAR based because in a downtown environment it didn't work. Now, as it's turned out, that hasn't been the case. And like if you look at the solutions that have popped up out of the Asian side of the marketplace, they've been heavily influenced by RTK. But you need the two to work together in those environments. And so collecting the data from that, I think um, Gary mentioned that hey, the TX, we're collecting the RTCM data. That ties directly into that. So you've got the camera data, you got the RTCM data. Now you can do post-processing and the IMU data. You can do post-processing to understand how you can navigate better through high multipath dense urban environments. So it is quite useful.
yeah.
I think our solution already is really working towards helping people develop core solutions to those deep urban canyon navigation challenges, which have always been one of the most difficult corner cases to work.
And Gary, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think if we want to collect the edge data or the corner cases, we need to collect a large amount of data.
Mhm. That's a great
So
point.
the quantity, the quantity is critical. So that's why we collect over 30 million kilometers of data, and that's not enough. Um, for example, why the Waymo cannot see the school bus because they not see the school bus enough. Yeah, that's what we are working on, and we need to collect more and more school bus images and LiDAR and raw data. And also we need to develop the curation system to select such data and use that data to train the AI model to understand what is the school bus and what is the stop sign, yeah, from the school bus. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
you
was a
can.
great point, and I like the way you put that as well. That was very good.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, and then I think we have time for one more question. And again, if we don't get to your question, please do ask on any of our social medias. So, oh, I really do like this one. It looked like it was being answered via text, but we'll go ahead and take that to the live. Will there be an option or potentiality for a light cone to be put on the GeoSwarm drone?
Oh man, yeah. So this,
Oh.
I really want that. I have, yeah. I can't go into the specifics of why I want that so much, because I don't want to tip off any of our very smart competitors in the Web 2 world for these types of data products. But yes, indeed, I think Spexy would love it too. The and it's doable. With the heavier drone, but that means a lot more regulation relative to flying drones. So we've decided to start off in the 250 gram and below category, kind of enabling that marketplace. So we have a whole tech stack going on behind the scenes that we have not really talked about. It's beyond just the drones, a whole tech stack. Um, the the thing is, lidars are a little on the heavy side, so that's the challenge. But yeah, I mean that is totally super important area and very. I'm bugging Gary and his team almost once a week. Like, find me, let's figure out how to do this. Let's find a lidar. Let's figure out how to make this happen.
Mm,
It would be absolutely groundbreaking.
yeah.
Anything from your side, Gary?
Yeah, so I think the data from drone, if we using drone to collect data is a more efficient way because drone flying fast. But there's some challenges about the drone and carry the lidar and a whole bunch of the sensors because the usually the lidar is heavy. So if you want to use the qualified lidar to can detect 100 200 meters, such lidar is usually heavy, and that means we need to choose the bigger one, the bigger drone. But if we choose the bigger drone, we are facing some regulation problem.
Hmm.
Yeah, but we keep eyes on it, and we are trying to find more LiDAR. I believe next year we will find some lighter LiDAR, and maybe we can put the sensors include LiDAR on the drone. Yeah.
Yeah, the future holds so many possibilities, so many more announcements to come, especially from the GeoDNet side and the rover side and the rest of the world for all of that. But our time here today has come to an end as we have hit time, and I appreciate you all for coming today for our first ever GeoDNet, or I guess maybe not ever, but first GeoDNet and rover AMA that we're hoping to do weekly. We're going to go ahead and reassess whether we like Zoom. Maybe we'll do X next, maybe we'll do some other platform. But again, appreciate you all. Good morning, good night. We hope to see you at the next one. We will again post all of this on our social medias, X, Discord, YouTube. Happy to have you there. Until then, y'all, have a good one.
Cheers.
Thanks for
Okay,
joining
thank you.
us.
Cheers.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Bye.